I'm back. I was called to doing a collective reading today. I have all my stuff out. I was already doing a recording and I was getting some interesting hits. Let's tap into what the collective needs to hear today and take what resonates, leave what does not. This is my Akashic Soul Echo Oracle deck. Oh, I don't think I've ever gotten this card before. Heartseeker, you're beginning to explore new emotional landscapes with wonder. Be curious. Every feeling is a message leading you home. So it feels like you may be stepping into new territory a little bit, and you may be led by your heart or led by your emotions. What feels good for you? Maybe in the past you were a little bit more of a logic person. Maybe you were a little bit more in your head. You were making decisions and life choices based on what seemed logical versus what felt good. Let's get a little bit of clarification on this. And I'm just going to use my little zodiac tarot here. Wow, that popped out immediately. 10 of Cups, ultimate emotional fulfillment. And this is so funny. When I was doing a demo earlier with my other recording, this was the card that came out. So we are stepping collectively into things that are much more emotionally fulfilling for us. And even if it doesn't make sense, even if it doesn't make logical sense, even if it's not something that makes sense to other people, it feels right for us. Go ahead and shuffle. Let's pop out. Hanged Man reverse, you may be struggling to surrender to this a little bit. It may feel like you're moving in that direction and you're like, this really feels right. But you might have a lot of just subconscious conditioning around what life is supposed to look like, what the career you're supposed to have is, what your family dynamic is supposed to be, the kinds of things that you're supposed to do for fun. So all of this has been conditioned collectively just for thousands of years of what reality is supposed to look like. And we're all starting to break the mold a little bit, I think, but there's still a little bit of reticence, a little bit of hesitation, because not only in this lifetime have we been conditioned for this, but generations and generations and generations of our family passed down to us has been conditioned that this is the way life is supposed to be. This is the way you're supposed to do things. There is no, major wiggle room around this. And it doesn't matter how you feel about it. Five of Swords reversed. So, kind of coming out of periods of thinking about what's important for you, not fighting and arguing and going back and forth over the things that, again, are conditioned with us. Shallow victories is a word that's coming to mind. We're kind of stepping out of the era of like, we don't want those shallow victories anymore. We want things with substance. We want things that mean something to us. And we're kind of letting go of arguing anymore, especially if people are leaning towards pushing back against the choices we're making. We're not really fighting or arguing about it, or we're not seeing the point of fighting or arguing about it or trying to make our case to people anymore because we know what makes sense to us, what feels good to us. And it's an energy drain to try to convince somebody of the choices we're making for ourselves. Okay. Yeah. Six of Swords, moving on, going from stuff that is not so fulfilling, but also a little bit more chaotic and turbulent, and moving into something that is more aligned for us. And this is the travel card too. So, and this is so funny because I see for myself personally, and with a lot of people in my circle, a lot of us have been relocating either home wise or work wise, or there's some major transition or movement or change with where we're spending a lot of our time. Kind of went in and fished for one and got Eight of Swords. So get out of our heads about it. This kind of goes back to the Hangman reverse. This is so funny. I pulled both of these cards for a reading I did the other day for somebody. So this is one of the reasons why we're having that reticence. Like we are in our heads, we're feeling a little bit trapped, but it's It's not necessarily something we can't get out of, but it definitely feels like a loop. It feels like we're stuck. There may be like one or two certain things that are popping up for you currently that you're noticing patterns. You're noticing the restriction that you're feeling when you start to move into something new. Get curious about that. Explore that. What is that connected to? So, overall, this is definitely a call to collectively, we need to follow our hearts, find what feels good for us, align ourselves with the things that bring us joy, bring us happiness, get out of our heads about what we've been conditioned to believe, and start taking steps to move into something more fulfilling.